Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today I'm going to show you how to make a fun little art journal that you can bring along with you during your summer adventures. This video is brought to you by Papermart. You can find them online at www.papermart.com. I'm using their 18-inch wide white craft paper here, and I have a big roll of this in white and craft, and it's very handy stuff, and that's going to be the pages of our book. You're going to need some adhesive. I've got my double-sided tape here. I also have a corner rounder. It will just help save wear and tear. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it or not, but I thought I'd have it handy just in case. I've got some Papermart washi tape just for some decoration. I've got a couple pieces of scrapbook paper here. This one is cut to 6x9. That's the size of our book. This one's cut to 6 by it's actually just cut 6 inches by 12, so I'll have a little extra. I've got a couple pieces of cardboard. One is 6 by 10, and I have scored it at the 9-inch mark, and this one is 6 by 9, and those will be my covers. So first, we got to figure out what we're going to do with this big sheet of white paper for our pages, and I really think the best thing to do here is to start accordion folding it every 6 inches. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to start, this first page is going to need to be trimmed because I don't have it very neat, but I'm just going to use the edge as a guide, and I'm going to crease it down. And then I'm going to do that again. And actually, I'm going to need to make these about 9 inches wide. So I am going to look at my grid, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And just kind of eyeball it here. And then I'm going to keep going until I have accordion folded as much paper as I want for my pages. So go ahead and do that. I've got probably about, I would say 12 feet of paper here, so it's going to take me a few minutes, but we'll be back as soon as I have all these folded. Use your cover as a guide to figure out how wide you want your pages to be. Once you get that first fold down, it becomes much easier to fold the rest of your papers. And you're going to have a weird flap at the beginning, but don't worry about that because it's not going to affect anything. Try to be as neat as you can and keep your pages as uniformly long as you can while you're folding. Once you have your stack folded, you're going to need to cut it to height. So I've got the 9-inch wide pages or thereabouts, and now I need to cut it into 6-inch wide, 6-inch tall pages, and I'm going to do that over on my paper trimmer, but you could always use an X-Acto knife and a ruler if you wanted to do that. You might find that one edge where you fold it is straighter than the other. Use that one as your guide when you're cutting. You can see my guillotine style trimmer makes quick work at chopping these pages down. Now I want to hook these stacks of pages together so that I end up with a large accordion style book. So I think what I'm going to do is actually kind of keep them all stacked up and hook them together at the folds, kind of keeping them in the same accordion style fashion. So there we have quite a bit of paper there, and since we'll just be using one side of it, you'll be able to use like light washes or markers and things and not worry about it bleeding because you're not going to see the back sides of that paper the way we're going to bind this. So now we've got our covers, and the first thing I want to do is cover my covers. Cover my covers! So I'm going to cover the side that's got the printing for my cinnamon oat cereal, and that way it'll just be plain craft paper on the inside and look kind of nice. So I'm just going to put adhesive along the edges. You could also use like a bookbinder paste if you want to, but this is such a casual project that I'm just keeping it simple. And if we have any like bits showing that we don't want, we can trim them off. So again, no need to worry. Oh, I didn't stick that on very straight. Usually you get a little working time here. Get that on as good as you can. You can trim off any extra later, and let's do the same to this. Oh, I like how it's got that little label area there if we wanted to write something on there like summer 2016 or something like that. We could. I like to use a heavier scrapbook paper for this too, and I just happen to have these scraps lying around, so it was perfect. My daughter had used this paper for something somewhat like recently, so And I'm just going to fold that up because I decided I want my cover to go this way so that the pretty side is out. And then I just need to figure out how much of a spine I need here. So I'm going to put my book in here. I don't need that much, so what I'm going to do is actually score this so I can make about a 1/2 inch spine. I like cereal boxes because they score really well on my Score Pal, so I don't have to, maybe, no, yeah, we'll do a 1/2 inch. This should be safe in case we paste things in there. We want to make sure it's going to be able to handle it. I'm going to go over and do this other side too, and I think I want to rescore on that line as well, just to make sure it's going to be a super flexible spine. Alright, there, now we have a really nice spine there. And then I can attach this, just like that, so that we've got a nice cover. I'm going to give this plenty of adhesive, because this is the cover. We want it to be really, really strong. You could use carpet tape if you want a super duper strong bond. Or you could use hot glue. The thing with hot glue and bookbinding, though, you have to work really fast so that you don't, so that it doesn't dry and get lumpy on you. So that's the only thing I caution about if you want to use hot glue, is that you just have to work really, really fast. Alright. I gotta trim my paper a little bit on that blue one. So why don't I do that? Actually, I'm going to use a knife for this. It'll be a lot easier. So I'm just going to trim off the excess paper here, and then we will do the edges with some washi tape. To do the edges with washi tape, I simply want to pick a color that I like and put it half on and half off the cover, and then I'll fold it around to the inside. Make sure you leave a little slack at the spine so that you can it can open and close with you. Now we've got the edges reinforced with a little bit of washi tape. It looks nice and neat. Now, one thing I kind of wish I did, I wish I'd made my pages purposely a little bit shorter, because when I put them in here, they do protrude out a little bit on the end. It's not a huge deal, but maybe wait to cut your covers until you've made all your pages, just so that you can allow for a little extra space if you want to. But that's not a huge deal. So I'm going to keep that all stacked in there, and what I'm going to do is, and again, if this bothers you to have half a sheet, you can go ahead and trim this sheet right off, so you get to the so that you get to a full sheet. But it doesn't bother me, this little end paper here being, you know, not the full size. And I am going to put adhesive on, make sure my spine's lined up, and then I am going to close my cover and press it down. So I like to do it that way to make sure my pages are lined up good. Now we're going to flip it over and do the same on this side. I'm putting my adhesive on that last paper. You can see it's a partial sheet. It won't really matter here because you're only going to see a full sheet when you open it up, because because of the way the fold is. We're ending on a mountain fold. Tuck that right in there. Line everything up neat and tidy. We're going to close that, make sure it's all lined up before we press it down really well. Now, the one thing about an accordion book is that your pages are not anchored to the spine in the middle. They're not anchored to the spine at all. So that it's kind of cool, because you have this huge, long, continuous paper, but this could all like kind of flop out, and if kids are using it, then that's kind of like I'm kind of afraid that they might, you know, be in the car doodling and then poof, everything just kind of falls out, or on a train or something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to anchor this with a few strands of baker's twine. A, it's pretty, and B, it's really going to do the job nicely. So I'm just going to go every couple of pages and wrap the baker's twine around. You don't have to do this, but I think if you are making this for a kid, it's a wise idea. And I'll do one more like right there. Plus it'll give you a little pretty detail on the outside. And then we're going to close it, and it doesn't have to be real tight. We just want to gently keep those pages in place. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a tug. I don't want to tear the paper. And then I'm simply just going to, oops, oh my goodness, I've got the stickiest scissors in the world. I need to wash them with some Goo Gone. They're awful. I don't know what I cut with that. Probably it was my daughter with duct tape or something. Nah, who am I kidding? It was probably me. I'm probably the culprit. And you could, of course, like tie some beads or something like that if you want to make it a little bit fancier. I am just going to tie it in a knot, I think. And I mean, you could get really fancy with this. You can make like a pocket on the front to hold some, you know, crayons or something. It's completely up to you. I think I'm just going to snip that down a little bit. But there we have a custom accordion journal that you can record all of your wonderful summertime memories in, and I hope you make one for your kids or for yourself. It's a lot of fun, and it's very affordable too, using some recycled supplies and a big old roll of paper from our sponsor Paper Mart. Please check out our sponsor at www.papermart.com. Packaging for less. Happy crafting!